and welcome to the Real Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA. I'm your host today, Patrick Franz, the Note Mentor, and when you tune into my show, you will learn how to build passive monthly cash flow and create true financial freedom by investing into mortgage notes. You'll learn how to collect cash flow from real estate without actually owning the real estate. I mean, who really wants to deal with tenants, toilets, termites, and other troubles that come along with being a landlord? I plan to bring amazing experts on the show so that you can get a well-rounded view of how note investing can possibly change your financial future for the better and help you to leave a better financial legacy. So, financial intelligence is what I preach and note investing is what I teach. Today, I'm going to be having a guest speaker on. His name is Desi Arnaz, believe it or not. He's a professional investor of over 30 years, and he's actually my mentor in the note investing space. He's going to come on here in a little bit to share his story and tell you all about note investing and how it might be beneficial for you and your family and your financial future. And I want to let you know something about this, guys. I personally come from a background of high risk, high reward. Years ago, I was working in venture capital where when folks would invest their money into a project, they could make a huge return potentially, but there was a very, very strong chance that they could lose all of their money. And, you know, back then I saw a lot of good people trust in these great ideas and businesses, invest their money and lose it all. And that can be disheartening. And a lot of us are looking for something that could offer some safety, perhaps a steady yield, and perhaps maybe some cash flow included. And so let me explain to you folks that don't know out there what note investing really is, okay? So you get an idea of what we're talking about here. I can give you a little bit of a comparison. Some folks already understand what it means to be a landlord. You go out and buy a physical piece of real estate, you put a renter in place, and now you collect monthly rent each month. And you know, as the landlord, you have all the liabilities associated with that physical property. If the roof leaks or the water heater breaks or the toilet busts, guess who's in charge? You are. Now that can be a pain in the buns and also steal away from your ROI. And so when you take a look at what note investing is, we have to break it down to the basics. First of all, a note is just a piece of paper. It's a written IOU. So whenever you borrow money, you actually sign a note which explains the terms in which you are to pay that money back. And that's all it is. So when you borrow money to buy a car, you sign a car note. And that says that you owe a lender money for the car you bought because you borrowed the money to buy the car. Same thing with a house. If you don't have enough cash to go and buy a house, which most people don't these days, you have to go and get a loan. And when you get a loan, you sign what's called a note. And it says how you're going to pay your lender back that money that you borrowed to buy the house. In the mortgage note investing business, instead of the car note investing business, we're buying mortgage notes. So I wanted you to realize that language. We're actually buying the note or the debt on a physical piece of real estate. The mortgage is a separate document that you sign when you buy a house with financing that says you, as the homeowner that borrowed money to buy that house, now have a mortgage in place. It's a document that says you voluntarily pledge your physical real estate as collateral for the money that you've borrowed. And so that lender has the ability to take that house from you if you don't pay based on the terms of the note. So I hope that explains what a note is, but as a note investor, we actually buy that note. We buy that debt on that physical piece of real estate. We become the lender, so we basically step into the bank's shoes, and we collect mortgage payments every month with interest instead of rent payments. And so can you imagine collecting the monthly cash flow from real estate without having the headaches that come with actually owning that real estate? So that's what we're talking about, folks, is creating cash flow, creating time freedom, financial freedom by buying the mortgage debt on these properties, becoming the bank and collecting those mortgage payments, not rent. So as you know, my story, like I mentioned, was coming from the high risk, high reward nature of investing. And a lot of us have gravitated towards note investing because it's very difficult to get these three things in any other type of investment. And I love to challenge folks out there and say, if you can get safety, a steady yield, and monthly cash flow mailbox money all in one investment. Where else can you find that in one spot? So that's what we're going to be talking about. And my guest, Desi Arnaz, is going to be coming on here shortly. And Desi was actually my mentor that brought me into this space. And so I thank him very much for coming on to be my first radio guest and to give his story and how note investing really was able to change his life. But Desi's been a professional investor since 1982. So folks, he's not new to this game. He's been a landlord and owned several rental properties over his career. And also, he was a property flipper. He's flipped hundreds of houses. So his resume shall choke a horse, as they say. But he's also been a real estate broker since 1980. He's been a part of brokering over 5,000 houses. And today now he's switched all of his attention to buying real estate debt, or also known as buying and investing in mortgage notes. So folks, when he comes on, you're going to be amazed at his story, amazed at the value that he's going to bring to you. And I'm going to be excited to bring him on right after the break. But let's remember this. If you folks are out there and looking for a place to put your money, which most people are, there's only a few choices, right? And most of us are very hip to all the common choices of where you can put your money as an investor. And one of those places would be the stock market. One of those places would be an IRA, maybe invested into a mutual fund through your job. Other people are doing now the cryptocurrencies, and there's tons of places to put your money. But like I said, with the topic of note investing, the beauty of it is that you're going to find an investment vehicle for you that can provide you those three things all in one place. You see, there's no collateral with the stock market. That's one of the only problems. And I was mentioning earlier to somebody about the itsy bitsy spider game, and somebody asked me what that was. And I said, it's really tough as an investor with your portfolio to have your portfolio climb and climb and climb 3 steps and then go backwards 2 steps. Forward 3 steps, backward 2 steps. It's very difficult. It's very stressful. And how can you ever imagine over a 10 to 20 year time period what your calculated wealth will be? And with these Bitcoins and such, guys, I mean, obviously the currencies are changing and the times are changing with technology. But again, these can be more risky. And the one thing we don't want to do as investors, if we can prevent it, is we don't want to lose any money if we can prevent it, right? Protecting thy purse and investing into things where you don't lose your principal should be a #1 rule. And that's one of the reasons why we love mortgage notes. What we're going to do when we bring Desi on here in a few minutes after our first break is we're going to break down Desi's story. Why does a guy like Desi want to be in the paper side of real estate full time now and not in the bricks and the mortar? He doesn't want to own rental properties, folks. He said he's flipped his last house. He's just concentrating on the paper side of real estate for very good reason. And you're going to absolutely love his story. I'm also going to be bringing on several other guests to the show as we move forward, and I'm going to try to give, like I said, a well-rounded education to you folks, to the listeners, on how maybe you can take and change some of your actions financially, perhaps get into mortgage note investing, and really be able to create yourself some wealth over the next few years. I hope you're going to enjoy this show, and I'll tell you this. If you've ever had a mentor in your life that you really respected, that was able to change your life for the better, you should pass that info to others. And that's the whole reason why I'm bringing Desi, my guest, onto this show today, because he's changed his way of thinking to now be able to pass along this financial intelligence, to be able to pass to us the knowledge that he's created over the past 35 years of his investing experience. And boy, I'll tell you this, he is going to blow your mind when it comes to notes, what's possible, and really the power of compounding. You see, if you're going up and down and you're winning sometimes and losing sometimes, you lose this factor called compounding. And we're going to discuss that a little bit on how if you have a long-term plan, you're not looking just to get rich quick, folks. I will tell you, note investing is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is going to show you how you can prepare yourself with a get-rich-guaranteed plan. How does that sound? It'd be nice to have a real plan you could follow that's not a maybe, it's not an if or a wish, but you're able to actually guarantee yourself a certain level of wealth within, say, a 5, 10 to 15-year time period. So it's going to be a fun show. You'll be amazed, like I said. And folks, I'm not sure if you understand what's happening here, but this is going to change your life for the better, whether you invest in notes or not. Financial intelligence is really what we teach, folks. Financial intelligence is what we preach. Notes is what we teach, I should say. So stay tuned. I don't want you guys to go anywhere. I don't want you guys to miss a thing. And I'm going to bring Desi on. And yes, it's Desi Arnaz, not the Desi Arnaz you know as an actor. It's Desi Arnaz, the professional investor. And I'm going to bring him on here right after the break. You're not going to want to miss this, so do not go anywhere.